You are now live. Yeah, Schlock West in the morning, Dash Radio, the spin room, you know what it is.
Hey, yo, what up, party peoples? We back in the building again on this Feel Good Friday. I be your man, Bigg Pwee from the spin room. That's my ride or die, Big Les. Your girlfriend's favorite DJ Ron C. And K Stephanie, the newbie in the building. Welcome, man. Let's get it popping. How's everybody doing?
We good. We got special guest, red velvet rope is about to be lifted up. Tell them about it, P.
Yeah, so before we do that, you guys know what we got to do beforehand. Right down below, please make sure that you subscribe. Click on that bell because we post a new video every single day. And just like our special guest, you never know who's going to stop by the spin room. You don't want to miss out. So make sure you click on that bell, all right? Ladies and gents, this young lady right here, you might have seen her on the 8th season of Last Comic Standing. She's also one of the stars of Tiffany Haddish comedy special called They Ready. She's a commentator on the Young Turks. She's also an actress, producer, writer, and podcaster of her own show called Truth Serum. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and give it up for Aida Rodriguez. Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. I'm really happy to be here. I know I look like odd because I got a little pinched nerve in my neck, but I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, man.
You look beautiful, Mama. We're so happy that you are here. Thank you so much for taking the time to rock with us. You have no idea how empowering you are to girls who are striving to be comedians and producers and just being who you are, because you've always been truthful on stage, and it has been just illuminating to see. It's fresh to see that people are like you are, just speaking their truth all the time. So thank you for rocking with us.
Oh, no, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, I told Les before we jumped into this interview, I said, man, I'm excited because I remember seeing you at the comedy store, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been the Comedy Store? Okay, it was on Sunset. That's all I know. I saw you there. Yeah. Yeah. Saw you there. And I was like, man, she's hilarious. But the thing about it is she's keeping it a buck on what's going on in the world right now. It ain't just about my family, friends. It's like she's being funny about hot topics that are going on right here, right now, and making it funny. And so I was like, wow, that's pretty dope. And then I started following you on Instagram. And then I started saying, I was like, oh man, I'm loving this. Like, she's got it going.
Well, I think that comedy is, you know, we're supposed to be the final frontier of saying what's happening. We're we're supposed to do the social commentary. We used to be the healers back in the day in history. So comedians, you know, that's the difference between a comedian and a clown. A clown and a jester are supposed to just make you laugh, and they shuck, they jive, and they do all of that. But comedians are supposed to be saying something. And that's why we love Richard Pryor forever, because Richard Pryor talked about things and was vulnerable and able to speak on it. And that's my hero. So I just think it's important for us, especially as people of color, to make sure that we express our spectrum, because a lot of times media and images project us to just be one thing as caricatures and, you know, as low common denominator thinkers. And that's not true. We have a spectrum just like everybody else. And I think it's important to use our tools to express that.
Most definitely.
Let me ask you. Can you hear me? Oh, I'm sorry. Not everybody can be a comedian. So it takes a really special artistic person, one, to be bold enough to stand on stage by themselves in front of an audience of critical thinkers to really kind of make people laugh. At what point in your life did you realize that this is what you wanted to do versus acting, and that you could really like handle the stage?
So I always wanted to do stand-up since I was little, but I continuously kept getting deterred from it. I got scouted to model when I was 14. I got a check from a modeling job, and I was like, whoa, like this is like real money. But it was never fulfilling. I was always the clown. I was always cracking the jokes. It just didn't you know, even though I did relatively well, it just wasn't for me. But it was when I came out to LA as an actress and as a writer, I did this birthday event with Chris Spencer. And Chris Spencer said to me, "You're stealing yourself of your purpose because you are a stand-up comedian." And Chris was like, "I know him when I see him. I've seen them all." And he was like, "And you need to step into your purpose because you really are a stand-up. You're naturally a stand-up, and you need to do it." And he wrote down these open mics and said, "Go try these and let me know what you think." And he was right. The minute I did stand-up, I never stopped. I've been doing it ever since. And, you know, it's part of my journey because I am an actor, I am a writer, I am a producer, but stand-up is part of it.
Nice.
It's a lot for comedians, other comedians, to like pass the baton and give somebody else props because they're very critical. But I'm the same way, like with dancers, as I'm sure Ron is with DJs. Like, man, he don't know how to rock a party. You know what I'm saying? Your peers can be like the hardest critic. So.
Yeah, no, I think it is. It's a, you know, comedy, like everything else in entertainment, especially with people of color, they lead us to believe that there's only room for one of us at the top. So there's a lot of that because they do that with us. Like they can have 10 varieties of white people speaking about doing comedy and being DJs, and you could be Paris Hilton and become a DJ, but when it comes to us, it's always like this limited space for us. And we have to break those barriers down because the truth is it's about economics, and we need all the voices. We need the hood voices because the hood needs a voice, and we also need the voice of those people who graduate from college and become doctors and everything in between. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, and I fight for all of that.
I see you absolutely do. And I truly appreciate that. Thank you. I want to ask you a question because first, let me say this first. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Because I know your birthday was August 29th. Yeah.
So. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Michael Jackson, because I love Michael Jackson and nobody will ever make me stop saying that I love Michael Jackson anywhere. Love Michael
Jackson. You just hosted the Ad Colors Awards. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, how did you get involved with that? How did that come around?
You know, I this year I hosted AFCA, which is the African American Critics Association Awards, and I hosted Ad Color, and I think they both came by way of the same sources. They called me and they said, we want you to do this. I think that I've been very vocal about the intersectionality of Blackness and Latinidad. Those of us that are like from the East Coast that grow up around each other, we have a different perspective on what Blackness is. And when you move to places like the West and California, it becomes like this divided front, which is I'm not used to, you know. And I think that they wanted to have some representation that encompasses all of that, because a lot of us who are Latinos don't claim our Blackness. And we've been indoctrinated into believing that Black is bad and we hate ourselves and we don't want to be, you know, self-admitted Black people. But this administration, the KKK, all these groups will remind you that you are. Very quickly.
So let's get into the hot topic now then. Right, Aida, let's get into the hot topic. We done seen the 2020 ABC special that happened the other night with Mr. Donald Trump. I'm not even saying president. Donald Trump, that he spoke to a young lady about healthcare, spoke to a gentleman about racism in the world. Another young lady spoke to him about masks, wearing masks in your rallies and all this other stuff. I want to know from you is, you hear him speak, but his base, why do you feel his base is not resonating with his base that he's a fraud?
Because they're not constituents, they're a cult. And there's a difference between that. Those people are not, they're not speaking. He's not, first of all, he knows very well who his base is. That's why he constantly insults their intelligence. He insults them more than anybody else does by the things that he says to them, with the expectation that they're going to believe it. So it's very telling about how he feels about his base when he said a long time ago, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they will still rock with me. Well, now here, 200,000 deaths later, they still rocking with him because he knows that those are people who are not, they're not well versed in politics. They're not well versed in policy, because anybody who understands politics is not in it. You don't have to, this is not the Red Sox and the Yankees. This is about policy, right? So we have to be like, we need to be, it doesn't matter which political party it is, as long as they are servicing us by way of policy. And so I think that those people are not, a lot of them don't have an education, and a lot of them are racist. And I think people are afraid to say that. They're really racist. Racism is not a deal breaker for them, because it's like the sharecroppers. At least I'm white is all they got, because they're mediocre. They're not excellent. They don't have the education. They're not performing economically. They just don't have the substance. So the only thing they could flex on immigrants, Latin people, Black people, is that they're white, is their whiteness, because they don't have anything else to offer. And Donald Trump has become, a symbol of mediocrity in this country. This is who they admire. This is who they look at. He is a person who has been bankrupt endless times. He's only rich because of generational wealth, which is built on the backs of slavery in this country. He's not somebody that you saw him pick himself up from his bootstraps, as they say, and become this thing. How many times has he been bankrupt? He fails at all of his businesses. So who do you think is going to look at him and say, that's my hero? Not somebody who's intelligent, not somebody who is excellent, not somebody who performs at high levels. Because if you look at him, he's a great symbol of mediocrity. And so that's why he can say whatever he wants to them, because they're not really politically astute. Those are people who are his fans. And those are the people who are going to suffer the most at his hands, because a lot of those people are poor. They're in the middle of the country. They don't have access to healthcare. Those are the people that said they didn't want the Affordable Care Act without knowing that it was Obamacare. That's how ill-informed they were. They were like, we want the Affordable Care Act, but we don't want Obamacare, not knowing it was the same thing. So there's not, of course they're going to rock with him. They're only rocking with him because he's saying all of the things that they feel in their heart is the reason why they're mediocre. Black people are taking stuff away from them. Immigrants are taking, Muslims are coming here to do this. That is why they're still rocking with him, because at the end of the day, they are racist, they're homophobes, they're bigots. And Donald Trump is their Pied Piper. He is saying all of the things that they want to hear, because he's not saying you're going to have a better education, you're going to have a better quality of life, you're going to get houses in the best neighborhoods. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, I'm going to keep them away from you. And that's all they need to hear.
Yep.
When your own family members talk about you in a disgusting and disgraceful way, that should speak volumes. So when you do your stand-up, and you are so direct, even to the white people in the audience who are probably in their seats, what is the feedback like? What is the heat that you feel from the audience to the stage with the looks on their faces and the attitude because of your frankness?
So I'll tell you that a lot of white people get in their feels, and I'm gonna tell you that I don't care, and I don't. And it's not like I go home caring about it, because we've had to hear people talk about us in a very uncomfortable way. That is our reality as people of color. We get to watch the president of the United States say that people that come from Mexico, immigrants, are rapists and murderers. He says, what he did to the Central Park 5, which was horrific. Those were children. So why do I care that you are offended about my truth when I have to absorb your truth at every turn in my life? The history is about you. Every magazine article, every cover of a magazine, every TV show, every movie, all I know is you. So if you having to learn about me is going to offend you, good. Maybe you'll learn something. And so my people love me. People of color rock with me. Millennials rock with me. Gay people rock with me. Trans people rock with me, because they know that I come from a place of love. So if anything I say is offensive to you, is that because your messaging is rooted in hate, and that conflicts with what I'm saying. Because I don't hate white people. I just want them to lay down their privilege so that we can live.
Karen,
We can't hear you. No, we can't hear you. Um, as she gets her mic together, um, let you said something that was very important there, and I appreciate the fact that you stand up because at the end of the day, that's one of the questions that America doesn't want to talk about is racism.
Of course.
Anytime that conversation comes up, everybody gets uncomfortable and they try to switch subjects and stuff like that. Just let us know, like, why do you feel that they don't want to have this conversation? I mean, I got my own opinion, but why do you think they don't want to have this conversation?
Because this whole country was built on racism. They don't want to have a conversation. Everything that's been established has been established on the backs of slaves and immigrants in this country. This whole country was built by slaves. So when you praise these billionaires and you're like, oh, they're amazing. No, they're not amazing. Run us our money back because that's where you got it from. You know what I'm saying? Like, that you're not excellent. You are excellent if you started with nothing. You know who is excellent? Your grandmother and my grandmother, that in spite of all of the things that they went through, they could still buy property. We know how to read. We're still standing. We're not even supposed to be here. You understand? By the way that they've been trying to exterminate us from the beginning and we're still here. That's what excellent is. It's not excellent to be rich because your great grandparents had money that was built on the backs of people who gave free labor for 400 years. Can you imagine having a company where people work for 400 years for free? You're supposed to be rich. If you're not rich and that happened, you a dummy. So they don't want to have this conversation because the truth is, for us to have true equality in this country and justice, white people have to lay down their privilege. That's what really is. It's not about holding up signs, putting up hashtags, donating to, you gotta be willing to say, I'm gonna fight for the freedom of all of the people in this country. And I'm gonna stand on the front lines and I'm gonna put my privilege down. And many of them, as much as they love you and they say they rock with you and they got you, they're not willing to take the privilege away from their children so that your children can live. And that's why they don't wanna have this conversation, because they want to have the topical conversations. Martin Luther King said, judges by the content. Martin Luther King said, I'm afraid I have integrated my people into a burning house.
Man,
so when they want
Second America, he said it in the Second America. Yeah.
Absolutely did. But you know what? They don't want to have that conversation, because when you have that conversation, you got to be willing to back that up with action. This is not about, we fund our own oppression every day. We support organizations that have been built on the backs of our ancestors. And I'm from Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. So you're talking about a global operation that was built on the backs of slaves internationally. Yes. From Peru to Puerto Rico, Haiti. Look at Haiti. They won't take their foot off of Haiti's neck because Haiti led the revolution. So when we sit down and have these conversations, you can miss me with all that empathy. I don't need empathy. You can keep your empathy. What I need you to do is to be able to say, I'm gonna take this away from us because it ain't even ours. Your great grandparents gave this to us. And I'm gonna put it back here so that we can have equity. And that's why they don't wanna have this conversation, because they don't wanna give it up.
Yeah. All right, Karen, your mic working now? Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go. There you go.
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
there
cool.
we go.
I did tune in today. I saw that on Truth Serum. You spoke what we're speaking about right now. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And I love how you put it, because you spoke about how Trump was lying about, how the flu is more effective than COVID-19. And you kind of broke it down for your listeners about, how we continue to have this talk about him, pretty much flabbergasted of the moves that he's making right now. But is it so surprising, because he pretty much showed his ass in the beginning? So I love how you put it as far as, what are our next moves as far as trying to, come together and make certain changes. And I do have to ask you this, like, what are your thoughts on when it comes to some Latinos voting for Trump?
Well, So there's a lot of self-hate in our Latino community, and you know that white Cubans who have assimilated into white culture, supposedly, so they think, because the KKK hates them too. But a lot of them, you know, they don't understand what we're talking about when we talk about healthcare and free education. The Republicans have done a real good job at scaring minorities into this whole talking point about socialism. When our country has a mixed economy, we already have socialism here. Our post office is socialism. You know, it's funny is like they are always talking about how they don't want socialism in this country, right? But you pay taxes that pay their salaries, right? And they use those salaries to have the best health care, and their kids go to the best schools. And that's the money that you pay with your taxes, whether you work at M&M's restaurant or you work at Morgan Stanley. So the socialism that we have in this country only benefits the top 1%. And that is why, you know, when they talk about socialism to us, Cubans and Venezuelans get all, oh no, they're trying to turn this into a communist country. First of all, they don't know the difference between communism and socialism and democratic socialism. And then the truth is that we have socialism in this country. It just doesn't benefit the average person. So when we have these conversations with Latin people, they get triggered because you got people who came here on rafts. Cubans don't identify with Mexicans because they have political asylum. They'll never be immigrants. So they think they're better than them. Then you talk about Puerto Ricans. I love my Puerto Ricans, but Puerto Ricans think they're better than everybody because they got citizenship. And they don't think, you want to piss a Puerto Rican off, an ignorant one, they'd be like, I ain't no Mexican. But the truth is yes, you are, because in the eyes of these people, we all the same. They just look at us in categories. You'll see what they call Middle Eastern people saying the N-word. Yeah. What makes you think that they look at you and say, oh, not them, they not like that? And right. So so many people want to identify with Trump because they mediocre, and they want to identify with this man so bad because they want white people to pat them on the head. And that is why they want to vote for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump and his administration, I guarantee you, if they get another round, they're going to take political asylum away from Cubans. And then they're going to hate Donald Trump.
You know, and it absolutely 100%. And you kind of touched on something too, with the United States Postal Service, and the scam that they're running. And, you know, he's really throwing out, trying to discredit the United States Postal Service and everything like that. Right. So, you know, with seeing Donald Trump in office, and you've seen how he's when he came into office, he kind of morphed his administration. He was having hiccups in the beginning. And now right here, you can kind of see he's finally got the people that he's always wanted around him to do his bid. How long do you feel that he put this in the works with the United States Postal Service to put Joy in that position?
So I don't know how long that's been in the works, but I know that he's trying to turn. So America has always been a corporation, right? And we are property of the state. That's why we have driver's license. So when you see people who are sovereign, it's because they don't want to belong to the United States. We are property of the state, and it's been a corporation. The post office they want to privatize the post office because UPS makes a lot of money, FedEx makes a lot of money. They want to do the same thing with the United States Postal Office because the United States Postal Office really benefits the people, right? It benefits the people. It is jobs for the people. It provides a service for us that is cheaper than FedEx and UPS. So of course they want to get their hands on it. But that's why those Latin people that we're talking about really, you know, that's why they can miss me with that argument about communism, because if anything should remind you of communism, it should be when you see a lock on a post office, on a post box. It should be when they deploy a police group that you don't even know, they're not even identifiable, that can snatch people off the street, put them in vans without reading them Miranda rights, without identifying themselves. All of that is very reminiscent of communism, not free education and healthcare, because it's not free. At the end of the day, we are paying for it. Look at the imbalance that we've had in this country since COVID. Jeff Bezos has become a trillionaire. We are talking about a severe imbalance in this country where people of color are at the bottom of the totem pole. I don't care how many Oprahs you have, how many Tyler Perrys you have. There is a severe imbalance in this country, and we are continuously feeding it. We cannot not order Amazon. We continue to make these people rich, and these people continue to oppress us. We fund our oppression daily. So we have to have these conversations, and we have to educate people on the fundamental level, because they don't understand, we don't understand how much our dollars keep killing us every single day. Every George Floyd, every Breonna Taylor, we are funding our own oppression because we don't understand economics, because the way that the economics is set up in this country is set up, it is all systemic. You know, this capitalism is based on racism. And we don't have these conversations, because if you start saying stuff like that, then why don't you leave this country? Bro, why don't you leave this country? This is not your country.
When you said that, funding our own oppression, that's crazy. You and I share the same thing that you mentioned, because we're both from the East Coast, you from Boston, me from New York. How different the people of the West Coast recognize the Latino culture. Like, I grew up from birth, my whole neighborhood, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubanos, Ecuadorians, everybody. And then you come out to the West Coast and people only recognize that Mexicans are the only Latinos that ever existed. And then the Mexican and Black community are so separated. And it was a hard adjustment for me. I'm like, where my people, where my people at, you know?
Yeah.
With all that they're talking about with immigrants, all that's been happening down with the women down at the border, right? Whether it's abortions or hysterectomies and, you know, rapes and everything else, how to the stage and be informative and bring light to it. Or is, you know what I mean? Because no subject is taboo to you, but how do you make people grasp it in a way that they don't leave crying, but are sympathetic? You know what I mean?
Well, you know, the funny thing is that I sit down and I write the topics, and then I write around them. And what I try to do is position them from the perspective of my personal experience, so that I can humanize what I'm talking about. I think that sometimes it's easier to have these conversations through humor, because through humor, you make people comfortable, you disarm them, and then hopefully it lands. And so what I do is I sit down and I talk about the absurdity. I start writing around the absurdity of these things. But, you know, those hysterectomies that they were doing to these immigrant women is part of the history of America. And it's, you know, fundamental oppression of people of color. They did it to First Nations women. They did it in Puerto Rico with these pills. You know, they did it to Mexican women. They've been doing it for so long. And it's because, you know, and I wrote a joke about it. They are so scared that the census said that by 2049, that America is going to be predominantly Black and brown. And so they are doing their best to try to, you know, control that, because they're scared. Fundamentally, the human part in the brain, what they're scared of is that we're going to do to them what they've done to us. That's
Facts.
Really the fundamental
Facts.
fear. But so, because if not, they wouldn't be worried, right? So that is what the fundamental fear is. And because of that, you see all of this, because, you know, they keep saying, oh, that the immigrants keep coming over, and, you know, Black interracial couples make Black babies, and all of this craziness that's been going on forever. And you know, the truth of the matter is that if you have any logic, then you have to think, you can't just keep doing this to these people and think it's gonna always be like this. It's not. At some point, the tide is gonna turn, because that is science. And you can believe whatever you want to believe. You're gonna believe you're gonna kill the little Tamir Rices, and you're gonna keep doing this to us, and we're gonna continue to take it. But nature has a way of balancing things out. It ain't even us. It's just nature and the Most High. And as you think that you're going to continue to do people like this, and now you got an epidemic, a pandemic that has hit the world, it's not gonna, you're not just gonna keep doing this to the earth. You're not just gonna keep doing this to God's children. You're not just gonna continue to doing this stuff and think you can get away with it for $1. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, they're catching a glimpse of it now, man. I want to ask you, and I know Pee-wee's itching to jump in, but it's on the tip of my tongue. I stopped using the word probably early high school, minority, when they describe Black and brown people. How do you feel about that term? Because I refuse to believe that we are less than. I'm cringing hearing it for even the first time.
I don't use it. I don't believe we're the minority. That's why they're afraid, right? Like, I don't believe we're the minority, because globally we're not. And the thing about it is that we don't think of ourselves as a global body. They have sections us off because of divide and conquer. But if you look around the world, melanin dominates the world, which is why they are always trying to control us, separate us. And so I don't use that term, because I've never used the word, because I believe that is, the connotation is also accompanied with less than. And so for me, I'm never going to say that about us, because I think we're divine.
Absolutely.
I know we're divine. I don't think it. I know it.
Hello. Have you heard about Atlanta, Georgia, where a bunch of people have bought land and is going to turn it into like the next Black Wall Street? Have you seen or heard about that?
Yeah, I wish we wouldn't be talking about it publicly on the news. I think that, historically what happens is that when Black people band together, brown people band together, they put their dollars together, they always find a way to dismantle it. And I think that a lot of the times that we operate, we need to learn to operate underground until we have, we have to have not just economics, we have to have police force, we have to have security, it has to be a system that is full and whole, not just the economics part, because we need to protect it. And that's one of the things that I respect a lot about the Nation of Islam, that they have their FOI, because the FOI is there to provide security. And you may hate Minister Farrakhan and his messaging, and you may hate them, but there is a certain level of respect that comes with, the fruit, because they have their own security, and they train them to be able to protect the women, the children, and whatever they have. And so I think it's important for us to be discreet, because we are sleeping with the enemy. And, every single time that we try to do something, they come for it. And it's because we always talking about what we doing, but what they do to us, they do in silence.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, I hope, Killer Mike did my show. I'm a big advocate of that. I believe that we should have guns. I do believe that we should know how to protect ourselves. I do believe that economically we have to be aggressive with our dollars. And, that's where our revolt should begin. But I don't think it's just exclusive to that. I don't believe in telling Black and brown people that they should be docile and tolerating abuse and mistreatment from people. I just don't think that that's the way either.
Most definitely. Yeah. Karen, you got another one?
I don't know if you've heard about, I guess they're having ads on Craigslist about how they're actually paying, Trump supporters to come out. And I think, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, because to me, I just feel like, I don't know if it's, part of Trump's plan or whatnot, because I feel like now that the economy is suffering because of, people losing their jobs and staying at home. I mean, what are your thoughts on that when it comes to folks out there actually putting these ads out and paying people to just rally for, $10 to $15 an hour to be at a certain location.
Well, it's indicative of how poor his base is. One, it's also very clear that his following isn't that strong. Like it really is. Like if you will go out and hold a sign during COVID for $10 to $15, you really gotta need that $10 to $15, right?
Right,
So,
right.
and listen, I ain't trying to clown nobody because I got family members who make $10 to $15, but it speaks to. But listen, they've been doing it from the beginning. When Donald Trump first was campaigning, I got a breakdown for an audition for a Latin woman. They wanted a Latin woman to go out and speak on behalf of Donald Trump. They couldn't find one that was articulate enough, so they had to go find they were paying like $25 an hour. So even for the rally in Tulsa, they put out breakdowns. They were offering people a couple of dollars, and that just shows you, how afraid he is at this point. Because the army should have grown, right? It should have grown. They should have been so strong that they wouldn't have to do that. Did you ever get an invitation to come rally for Obama? No. Nope. You know why? Because he didn't have to do that, because the people just showed up for him. So the fact the fact that the price point is $10 to $15 lets you know who he's speaking to. Because ain't you 10 to 15, what you gonna do for $10 to $15 at this point in your life? You
Right.
what? I can't even order a Postmates meal for $10 to $15. You know what I'm saying? Like seriously, for an hour of your day, that's who he's speaking to. He's speaking to. There are people who are 18 years old making $20 an hour. So when you're saying $10 to $15 an hour, you are speaking to a specific group of people. And those people are poor, they're uneducated, and they're desperate. So now you got people walking around saying, well, Donald Trump gave me some money so I could hold up a sign. So that's my president. Because that's how low the bar is.
After your on Netflix, what has it done for your, not just your career, but your negotiating and the deals that are coming to the table? Like, what is transformed?
So quite a few things have happened since I did the special. Funny, I sold my TV show like it was 4 days after I taped the special. So before anybody even saw the special, I sold my TV show.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. And and then I went back and I went and got Tiffany and I put her on my TV show because she put me on the Netflix special. Because I believe that they tell us not to do that, but that's what we're supposed to be doing. That's how we build community wealth. But I am going to I have a HBO Max comedy special now. They acquired me from Netflix. I sound like a kid, but they came and got me. So I've been working with them on a TV show, and I'm working on another project. What a lot of people don't know about me is that I started as a filmmaker when I came here. So I did my first film in 2007, and I made 3 movies. I made a movie with Jean-Claude Lemaire, who was in Malcolm X. He's a director. He actually made me direct my first movie. He was like, nah, you're gonna direct this one. Me and Glenn Plummer co-directed a movie. So, I mean, I've always operated from this business perspective and, from a holistic point of view of wanting to not just be in front of the camera, but create content and put other people in front of the camera. So in the last few years, I have been working on all of these things, and the special kind of just blew the top off and really, it just brought more people who wanted to do a business with me. And on all of those fronts, not just stand up, but it's been a blessing because the people have showed up for me. So even when the industry didn't believe, the people showed up for me. And that's what my hero, Muhammad Ali, told me what happened when I met him. He was like, the people are going to speak for you. It's not going to be easy for you. you just got to stay true, and you got to stay on message, because they're going to try to derail you from that. But you're going to have to stay on message because your purpose is bigger than this. And it just started happening that way. So yeah, I think that it was a blessing to do They Ready. It was I was in the company of my sisters. Two of my closest friends are on that show, Shantae and April. And I just thought, and it created a lot of more awareness to who I am and what my message was, because I never changed. I've been doing this, and I feel like they had to catch up to me because I was ahead of my time. When I was doing this stuff, people were like, oh, she's too, that's too much. I can't believe you said that. And I'm like, so I had to wait on the business to catch up to me. But it's been a blessing. Great things have happened. I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for Tiffany. And I'm excited to now do my own thing and just be able to create that for somebody else.
So I got two questions for you. First question is, are we going to see you do some more acting?
Mm-hmm.
We will see. Okay. All right.
Yeah, TV show is that I'm developing with HBO Max. I star in it.
Okay. Okay. I thought it was comedy. Okay, that's dope. Okay.
No, I have a deal. So I have a special deal, and then the TV show deal. They're two different ones, but one of them is for my
Come on.
show.
Tell them, run me that check. Run me that check. And then the second question is, you as a Latino woman, how important is it for you to, like Tiffany Haddish, you said Tiffany grabbed you and put you on hers. How important is it for you to find the next Aida Rodriguez to help her elevate herself?
That the thing is, in this business, people idolize celebrity and popularity. There are a lot of people who may not, like Earl Manigault was a great basketball player. He may not have been in the NBA, but we all know he was. That's where the GOAT comes from, right? So I believe in that. That was very important to me before I did They Ready. And when I did a movie in 2008, and I put, Black and brown people that you had never seen in the film. I did a movie with Lamont Rucker, and I went and got certain people that I knew, and I put all these Black and brown people in this movie because that's who I am. That's not a talking point for me. That's really who I am. So I do that all the time. When it comes to Black and brown women who want to be comedians or who are comedians, I do create a lot of opportunities for them. I just don't tweet about it or put it on Instagram because I don't need to get props for doing what I feel like I'm supposed to do anyway, because that's what we're supposed to do for each other.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I love that.
Like you have a seat at the table now, like the way that Kevin Hart or Chris Tucker have a seat, or Chris Rock have a seat at the table. Are you there yet?
No. I'm building my own table though, because what I want for. Yeah, like and I respect those guys. Kevin has created a lot of opportunities for me, and I love Kevin. And Tiffany, I have a different perception of what success is, because for me, if we don't win, then I don't win. So for me, it's about the we. I tell you, I went to Israel maybe like 5 years ago, and one thing I learned about people that are Jewish, they have a word. I don't know what the word is, but the word means the we. And it's all of us, and how they look out for each other, whether you're in Boston or Poland or Russia, you belong to this group of people who say, we must take care of each other and one another. So for me, success is, I think Beyonce's cool and J-Lo's great. I think that's amazing. It's good to watch, to see images of yourself be that successful. But I also think that it's important for me, what success is creating this village and this world where I look around and I see a reflection of myself and the DPs and the writers and the actors and the grips, and just creating this world that is a reflection of all of us. And so for me, what success is and what that table is building my own table and sitting amongst my own people and making decisions about how we're going to put out images about ourselves and who we are in our full spectrum. So I don't really look to success. I don't really look, I don't want to, it's not that I don't want to, but I don't care to be a part of that industry. For me, it's about using the industry to create our own industry. And so that's more important to me than, you know, being in the presence of celebrities. Like I don't really care about that stuff. It's just not, it's not in my DNA. Like I go home to Miami or I go to New York and I fucks with the people at the bodegas and you know, I'm everything I am because the hood loved me. When I said that, I meant it. So for me, it's like there is no celebrity to me like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was a citizen of the world, and those are my heroes. People who want to just go and say, I'm gonna go to the hood and find the next superstar. Not in Hollywood. I'm gonna go find her in the Bronx. I'm gonna go find her in Liberty City and create an opportunity for them. And that's what success is to me. And that's what the table is for me. Just building my own table, and the legs are being put on and the wood is made by somebody who sounds like me and looks like me. That's what gives me the rush, not that.
I love it.
Kind of piggybacking off of Pee Wee's question a little bit. I know that you and Tiffany made this pact about whoever made it first gets to throw the rope back. So did you believe her at first when she, you know, when you had that call? And I mean, because in
Yes.
this game, I mean, I'm pretty sure you've gone through experience where people say they're gonna do something and they end up not doing it. So I mean, what was your first reaction when she did throw the rope back to you?
You know, I always knew she would because that's who she is. I just didn't know she was going to do it that fast because that stardom was new to her. And it was so overwhelming. And we were on the phone after she did Girls Trip. Tiffany and I would always spend holidays together and our birthdays with each other. She was at my house before it happened. And I remember having a conversation with her because we talk in the morning. That's our thing. And she was like, I gotta go find me a job. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Cause you know, I did this movie, I did this. Now here, cause that's what happens. You do something and then you feel the rush and then you're like, okay, what's next? Yeah. Then Girls Trip came out. And that Monday, Variety said Tiffany Haddish is the funniest person on the planet, and her life changed. It went from a Thursday to a Monday. So her whole world changed from, you know, fame, riches, but obligations and duties. So I didn't think that she was going to do it that fast. She calls me in the middle of all of the stuff that's going on, and she's like, yo, I want to do this comedy special with, you know, with you. And, you know, I want to put 5 other people on there, maybe 6. And she was like, who you think, you know, what you think? But we talked about it. We go back and forth. We chop it up. And then I go about my business because I'm like, she's doing a movie with Melissa McCarthy. She's got a movie with Salma Hayek. All this stuff is happening. And I'm privy to what's going on. So when I get a call from my agent, she calls me first and she's like, yo, they're going to call you and say whatever. And then they called me and then I was like, oh, snap, she's really doing this now. So yes, I always believed that she was going to do it. Mind you, before this, if Tiffany had a job that she couldn't do, she would always say, call Aida. Every single time. She's always done that with me. Like, it's always like, if she can't do it, I'm in Sacramento doing a job she couldn't do. She will always try to get me the job. And if they didn't want me, then they would have to go somewhere else. But she would always try to, you know, put it in my lap so that I could have the opportunity. So I didn't think that this would be any different because that's who she really is.
That's so dope. All right, before we get up out of here, Aida, we do this thing called One Gotta Go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do this thing called One.
Junie on, I did it in hip hop with Junie, and it was, I got roasted because I said Nas, and man, boy, they came for me.
Well, we'll let you ride
Sure
because
they-
Nas is in the top 10. We'll let you ride. You know what I'm
I
saying?
love Nas, but they gave me 4 choices that were like so important to the culture. They gave me Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z, and Tupac. And that's a hard one to choose, right?
No,
That's all.
win situation.
No. And I said Nas, and for whatever reason I said Nas, but I think Nas is in the top 10 and I love Nas, but I was like, if I had to pick out of those 4, that was tough. And
All right, so before we let you go and we do this one gotta go, real quick, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, you can, Aida has her own podcast. She also has her YouTube that you can see it right behind her. It's called The Truth Serum with Aida Rodriguez. Please make sure that you tune in. You can also get her on Instagram, on all social media platforms, because her handle is all the same. Funny Aida. It's all the same. Her website, everything is all the same. I love that. Funny Aida. Make sure that you guys follow her, support her, and continue to support her, man, because we need people like this in our corner that's fighting for us. So thank you. Let's get into this. One gotta go. You ready, Aida?
I'm ready.
One gotta go. Aida Rodriguez. One gotta go. Comedy or writing? Which one gotta go for Aida Rodriguez? Comedy or writing?
Comedy will have to go.
Wow. I didn't expect that. I thought you would have said writing. I mean, I thought you would have said writing.
It's still write her jokes though. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it.
Writing is the fuel for it all, and comedy is just a offset of that. So writing is how you document history. So it would have, and I love comedy, but writing would be.
During this interview, you told us 2 key people that that are your number one, your aces. One gotta go. Muhammad Ali or Richard Pryor?
Richard Pryor got to go. Okay. Muhammad Ali is important for the culture.
Okay.
I love Richard Pryor. But if you know me, Muhammad Ali is king. And Muhammad Ali Muhammad Ali put everything on the line for us, where none of these people have done that. Muhammad Ali ended his career and was willing to go to jail for the Black man and soldier and woman in America. All of us, for all people of color. So absolutely, he's so instrumental to, being able to speak. He did what no artist had ever done, no athlete had ever done. He made an intersection of activism with his skill and turned that into a global, he made a global cultural change. People love Muhammad Ali all over the world. So I'm sorry, and I love Richard Pryor, but
sacrificial lamb, absolutely.
I ask everybody this question. This is one of my favorite ones because I always want to see what movie they'll let go. Aida Rodriguez, one gotta go. Gotta let me know. Which one gotta go? Love and Basketball or Love Jones? Love and Basketball or Love Jones? Which one gotta go?
I know most people would say would get rid of Love and Basketball, and because Love Jones has this, thing, and I love Renz's family, but I would get rid of Love Jones before Love and Basketball. And I know that's a tough one, but I was more compelled by the love story with Sanaa and Omar than I was with, I love the aesthetic of Love Jones, the vibe, the feel, like they stepped, like that was beautiful. But the chemistry that Sanaa and Omar had in Love and Basketball, to me, I love romantic movies, was, I mean, later we found out they were really in love, so you could feel that it transcended. But that movie really like impacted me in a way. I was like, wow, like I really felt them. So I would have to go with Love Jones. Would have to go.
Love Jones got to go. Okay. All
Love
right.
Jones. These cigarettes could have to be.
I'm taking this one old school. This is the last one. I'm taking this one old school here. Aida Rodriguez, one gotta go. Stevie Wonder or Marvin Gaye?
Ooh, Marvin Gaye. I'm sorry.
Marvin Gaye gotta go? Man, she didn't waste no time on that answer.
Listen, these are very hard questions. So, because these are people and things that I love. So it's very hard to, I love Marvin Gaye, but Stevie Wonder's catalog, it is so connected to my entire life. We have to protect Stevie Wonder at all costs.
At all costs.
Wonder has music on the soundtrack of The Outsiders. Stay gold. Like, when you think about the song when you think about just Stevie Wonder sang at Whitney Houston's funeral. He sang at all the people who I'm sorry. And I love Marvin Gaye, but I cannot tell you that Stevie Wonder is an amazing artist who's been doing it and is still doing it since childhood and has one of the most amazing music catalogs of all time. And, Marvin Gaye belongs to us and has some of the most, beautiful songs of that time. But Stevie Wonder his last name ain't Wonder for no reason.
Girl, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your passion and your insight with us. Truly, we wish you nothing but the best. We can't wait to see every piece of creative art that you put on every platform. We can't wait.
I can't wait too, because I'm gonna call you. You are, listen, beautiful, talented. I remember the time is one of my favorite videos, but I love to watch. I mean, Josie and I are very close. That's my sister. But I watch y'all and I'm like, yeah, you don't understand being in the hood where I was, watching y'all, seeing these amazing, beautiful artists expressing through dance. What y'all did for us was like, I still got on the earrings. Like, and the thing about you is you timeless. So you look exactly like you looked when you were in that Remember the Time video. So whatever you drinking over there, text me because I need it.
All right. Aida, hold on one second. Don't disappear. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Miss Aida Rodriguez. Yeah, man. And don't forget, follow her on all platforms. Funny Aida, okay? Funny Aida on all platforms. Aida Rodriguez, thank you so very much for being our special guest. That's Big Les, that's K Stephanie. I don't know what happened to DJ Rossi. I think his Wi-Fi disappeared or so. I don't know, man.
Like, she about to get us in the revolution. Let me jump off of that so they won't say I was part of that.
And I'll be your man, Bigg Pwee from the Spin Room. You guys enjoy your Friday. You guys have a blessed one. All right, peace.
Yeah, you are now live